Yeah. welcome, people. Welcome to Bucking Around. I'm Mecca, as you know, usually your Bonds Bomber. I got my right hand man, the analyst, SJ, aka the analyst, in the building as usual.
We're back.
Glad to have him here. What are you wearing today?
I've got the
You wearing a
GB. I've got the
Birmingham Lions
GB.
shirt? Oh, GB. Okay.
The
There we
Birmingham
go.
Lions. How many teams do you think I'm on?
One of the men. Is it my name men or men name men or the slogan now?
Main men, isn't it?
Our heroes.
Yeah. No, they've got.
So, dudes. A selection of dudes in the camp. We see that. Shout out, Coach Lillis. We see you, baby. We see you. Hopefully, we're in the free seats today. But yeah, we got special guests for you today. We got the Nottingham Gold. I think we got the Nottingham Gold and the whole Nottingham family in the building. So they'll be joining us shortly. SJ, how you been, man? How's things?
Are we talking Uniballer wise? It's been a tough couple of weeks. I'll be honest with you. It's been a tough couple of weeks. But that's football. That's football is how you deal with it when it gets like this, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is where you see where the real winners and the losers are, and that's the thing with playoffs. Yeah. It's the most exciting time. It's also the most stressful time. So we will
listen. More than anything, shout out Sport Tank because if you don't know, I think it's at Sport Tank on Instagram. Is at Sports Tank. Like I said, if you're not already been on there, like I said, best place to go if you want to keep up to date with all the BUCs scores and all the to-ins and throw-ins, similar to what we're kind of doing, trying to grow the BUCs game and raise more awareness about what's happening in American football in terms of BUCs.
We like to focus on one team a week, don't we? That's what we do. We focus on one team a week.
There you go, man. There you go. Trust me. But yeah, shout out Sports Tank. They're doing their thing. And yeah, I saw you did a bit of a predictions thing on there, if I'm correct. SJ's predictions on there. So who's your money on?
The playoffs. The playoffs are tough, man. Yeah. The playoffs are. I do see. I'm not going to predict winners. I think predicting the winners in playoffs is anything can happen. But I do think one of the finalists will be the team that we've got on today. I do think that, and I do think they'll be back playing at Nottingham again. Elsewhere, my Div 1 South prediction. I prefer not to speak on the Div 1 South anymore. I think Loughborough will go back up in the north. I do think Loughborough will get back up to the top. I think they will.
I think so. Yeah.
They look like they've got some good going there. I think they had a scrimmage on the weekend just gone. Yeah, when I think a lot of teams would have been taking it easy, resting up. They were scrimmaging against, I think, the Nottingham Caesars, the senior team.
Yeah.
So they're in business. They're in business still.
Yeah.
Div 2, Div 1, Div 2.
Yeah.
Div 2, you never know.
Durham are going up to the brand spanking new Filton Pride Academy.
Yes, I think that is going to be the most interesting game of the weekend. I think. I think my prediction is I expect the favourites to win out in all their games. I know these guys are probably going to come on today and downplay it and stuff like that, but that's my prediction. But I feel like Div 1 and Div 2, it's a different kettle of fish, man. You don't know where it's going to go, who's going to. It depends who shows up on the day. Who wants it more?
That's it. Trust me.
Who wants it more? You could have beaten a team twice in the regular season, and it all changes in the playoffs. Doesn't mean anything.
100%, man.
Speaking from experience.
We still believe. Obviously, SJ got the shock of his life when the Essex Blades got crowned. The division champion. So we saw any given Sunday, man, or Saturday or Friday
or Wednesday,
any given Wednesday, man. So you just don't know, man. Like I said, as usual, all you people in the free seats, we see you. We've got our guest on today, so feel free at any point to kind of drop a question or drop a comment in the super chat, and we'll endeavor to get round to those, provided they're PG. Please keep them PG. We had the HO Vico. We had our last guest on here, and it got a bit techie, but you know how the things set. We still found a way to go through it. Shout out the HO Vikings. They're man there on a different wavelength, but we love it. They're family now, so we can't complain. But like I said, as usual, like, share, subscribe at all things at Exs and Os team. Bucking around, like I said, hashtag SJ as well. SJ is an analyst. He's also, potentially maybe looking for another analyst role. So if any of you teams out there, maybe want to have a top.
Why are you selling me, man? Why are you selling me? Why are you selling
me? Man, your bro. Your family. I have to, man. I have to.
I'm very happy where I am.
Okay.
I'm very happy where I am.
No, he is. He's loyal. He's loyal, man. He's loyal, man. Well, let's welcome our guests into the building. Danilo and Bolaji. What's good? What's good, people? How's good things, man? How you guys been?
You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, man. What's good, man?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah, man. What's good? How's things? So you're all getting prepped for the playoffs?
Yes.
Business as usual. I can believe.
Hopefully, business. Yeah.
I'm surprised to see you, Bolaji, on here, because Bolaji is one of them quiet guys. You don't really see Bolaji talking too tough. You never strike me as.
It's very true. This is very true. Yes.
Do your work through the pads. Kind of keep your head down and your mind up, kind of thing. So good to see you, bro. Danilo, President. El Presidente. How's things, man? How you been?
Good. Enjoying kind of a weekend without a game. I had 5 games in 4 weeks, so it's been a busy schedule.
Woo! That recovery, that you don't realize how tasking it is on the body when you got back-to-back games, tough games as well, not easy games. You got teams that are fighting for the survival. You're playing those type of teams week in, week out, as well as practice, as well as a program like yours, which is very prestigious, might I say. In a case where training is probably harder than the games, as we've seen. So yeah, like I said, our guests will be in the free seat. So feel free as usual to ask our guests any questions that you might have, and like I said, we'll endeavor to get round to those. So first of all, introduce yourself to the people, all those in the free seats. Bolaji, you can go ahead first. Introduce who you, what you do, your position, how long you've been at Knots, something interesting about you. Just introduce yourself to the people in the free seats for those that don't know.
Hi, I'm Bolaji. I've been at Knots now. This is my master's. this is my master's year. I play slot receiver. My first year at Knots, I started a running back and then swapped to slot receiver, and then I've been a slot receiver since. And that just feels more comfortable to me. So I've just been working at that craft and then just playing as I play and seeing where it goes.
Danilo, 4th year at Nottingham. Safety to linebacker, then back to safety, kind of somewhere in between. Do a bit of both, wherever needed, really.
Yeah, dope, man. That's dope. So far as president, so far so good. You achieved all of your 10-point plan. You feel like you've had a successful tenure as president.
Yeah, I mean, second year doing it. Did it last year as well. So a bit easier this year because you're kind of not having to learn as you go, like you did last year. Things haven't gone perfectly, but overall, happy with, especially on the field, and then hoping to deliver some of the stuff off the field as we go towards the end of the year.
So what's your take on the season so far, Perry? I think a loss to Leeds before Christmas. I think a lot of people thought, I think it's not going to plan there. Things changing, but then after Christmas, faultless in my opinion. But how do you guys feel it's gone so far?
Do you want to
go? I could talk. I feel like that loss to Leeds was the catalyst that then enabled us to play so much better after Christmas. I think we needed to lose that game, and I'm not. How'd I put it? I don't want to say that because no one wants to lose a game. But if there was any game to lose, it made sense for it to be against them.
Yeah.
And then it made sense for us to bounce back the way we did because we gathered as a team and said, they beat us. We need to be better and not allow that to happen again. And that's where we've now gone and just keep building from there.
Yeah. I mean, on that, I think we kind of we sat down at Christmas and kind of recognized that we weren't where we wanted to be. We kind of have our 6 monthly meetings anyway with kind of the wider sport department. And I think for us, it didn't help the lack of games we had because of stuff getting rearranged. But I think a lot of us who were kind of around last year for the run we had noticed that it didn't feel the same. Of the energy around practice, the like the attitude on the field and stuff like that. And I think we had to kind of come back, reset. We didn't really have much choice with the packed schedule, but I think kind of having so many games in such a short space of time, it's just kind of everything onto the next game, onto the next game, onto the next game. Not too much time to sit around and think about anything else. And obviously having that Beckett game first, I think probably was the best for us because we were the best rested and things like that for that game.
I was going to say, that's the thing with the packed schedules. I mean, what was it you did? Was it because you had 2 games in, like, you essentially went on a road trip, didn't you? And this is when I realised the financial wealth of Nottingham.
They got that money. They got gold and green.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the options were either to play a game on the Wednesday, and do that, but obviously for Brit Ball and coaching, if it had been a local game, it'd have been a bit easier because it's an hour away and coaches can finish at normal time and still get there in comfortable time. But obviously being Durham, it's 3 hours away, so kind of it's asking a bunch of coaches to finish work early, so we played it kind of as late as we possibly could on the Friday night, stayed over in Durham, went up to Stirling, and then played Stirling on the Sunday. So kind of we would have been playing Stirling anyway and going up on that Saturday. So it's kind of making the best of it's Coach Scott talks about it a lot, is you can only kind of handle the cards that you're dealt and play them as they come. So just making the best of a challenging situation. But yeah, it's good. A good, enjoyable, successful trip overall.
It was.
What's the general vibe? Because
No, you go.
What's the general vibe? Because to many of us, that first loss was a big shock. Because the expectation, the weight on you guys' shoulders, it's heavy. Like, you guys are probably one of the elite university, one of the elite university programs. And credit to you guys, and credit to what the late great Stefan Beef Brittle has built. In terms of and what Coach Scott and the many other coaches have built. You guys have a lot of pressure on your shoulders. So the vibe coming out of that game in training, what was the attitude in training? What is the general attitude in training in terms of the level you guys play at?
I'll say I can only speak for the offensive side, and then when we come together for team, it's intense, but at the same time, we recognize that's my peer and that's still my friend. So we have to get our work done, and we have to be very careful, because in football, you can't destroy someone's confidence, because then it takes so much time to get it back, especially at my position, receiver. Catching is confidence. Confidence is catching. So if you mess that up, it now becomes difficult to rebuild. So after the loss, we sat down, especially with the offensive side, we said we had the plays there, but we ourselves did not execute them properly. Let's go and practice that. And it's not a case of it's the end of the world, this has happened and now we're not going to win again. No, it's a case of this has opened our eyes to the stuff that we've been doing wrong from whenever and being complacent about. So let's change our attitude and then go forward. That's kind of how it was. It's intense, but it's not everyone's on each other's back. No, it's more like I want you to do well to help me do well, if that makes sense.
Bola, I shouldn't say it. You know who you remind me of? You remind me of Steve Smith. When he came, you can say I'm too small, you can say I'm slow, but guess what? Every week you're going to have to watch me on TV. And we did.
Steve Smith. Thank you, man.
We did watch you guys on TV, and we saw, let's fast forward. Yeah.
Okay.
The end of last season. Yeah. To some, or to yourselves in the camp, yes, it was somewhat a successful season.
Yeah.
That last game against a massive outfit, a monster of a team, the UW Bullets. How much of that game has overflowed into this season how much of that game has left a chip on your shoulder? And listen, a lot of people put pressure on you guys to say, listen, this might be the only team to give the UWE Bullets a bloody nose. And excuse, for those who might take offense to that, excuse me, but you guys are probably the only saving grace who could give, Leeds, who could give UWE a bloody nose. So what do you kind of say to that, and how has that, that loss, impacted on the team?
I would say that's a tough question because it's hard to phrase in words for me personally. Having played the whole game, I would say the first thing people need to make sure they understand is that we didn't go into that game thinking they're on this much of a pedestal. We just had to go into the game thinking this is a very winnable game. That's the best way to go about it. Think about it as a winnable game. And it was a very close game. Like, if people watch the game, they'll see it was very, very close.
Yeah.
And it was very winnable for both sides to make plays that could dictate the entirety of the game. And so going to this season, it's a case of we don't think we're entitled to be in the final, but we do think if we did that last year, there is no reason with a similar team and with a similar work ethic, we can't just get there again.
Yeah, I think, to be fair, as a team, I think when we got back kind of in pre-season, I think we didn't really talk about, we talked about it kind of the first night back, and then there hasn't really been much mention of it. I think for us, it kind of, we had all that time to process that and deal with it individually. I think kind of dwelling on that, and for us, it's kind of that mentality of just moving on to the next and focusing on this season, because it's a different team, different players for both them and us. And I think, like Bilal, you said, the thing for us was we went into that game wholeheartedly believing that we could win it, despite whatever anyone might have said. And I think that was the big thing for us is I don't know, other teams maybe went in with the mindset of we're like, try and put up a good fight. We went in with the mentality of we're going to win this game, we can beat this team. And I think it's the same thing this year. We believe in ourselves and we believe in that. And I think that's more the key than necessarily anything spilling over from last year kind of thing.
I'm sure you would watch. Sure.
I was going to say, how much do you think it is down to mentality when it comes to, I also don't want to talk about that game that much, but how much do you think it does come down to mentality when you play that team? Do you think there are teams that, as soon as they know who they're playing, they go, oh, right, well, let's go there, let's take the L and let's come home. Like, do you think that's potentially been something that teams do?
I mean, I don't think necessarily. I certainly wouldn't speak on any teams because I don't know what's going on in their locker room. Just kind of for us, I think you have to have that mentality. They're extremely talented, extremely physical, and if you go into the game with the mentality that without that true genuine belief, you've got no chance. Because realistically, they might be like you. It was one of the things, even for me, on one of the first plays, you got that first hit, and it was kind of different from a hit that the other teams you played against, and you kind of met with that choice of you can either kind of keel over and take it for 60 minutes, or you can meet that, and I think that's the way that we did it. But yeah.
It's like a second version of your first ever hit, isn't it? Where you decide if this is a sport for you.
Yeah. I'll never forget that day, man. I'll never forget that day, man. It was even left or right, man. It was even left.
How are you getting hit on the line? Who's hitting you that hard that you have to debate that? You're the one that should be doing that to people.
The trenches are nasty, man. The trenches it's a dark place. It's a dark place, man. When you're timid, a big guy but timid, man, it's a dark place. I'm not gonna lie. It was very intimidating. My first kind of couple snaps, I felt really, really uncomfortable. The first couple snaps, you got to build that callus, man. Without building that callus, it's hard, man. It's really, really hard. But just on that, so I'm gonna keep it real, man. So can you beat the UWE Bullets? Yes or no? No. Will you beat the UWE Bullets? Yes or no? Let's keep.
That's two different questions. No, you've asked two different. No, you've asked two different questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that. You said, can you? And then you said, will you? I heard you. Can we? I believe so. Will we? Time will tell.
I reckon they're not going to give you anything other than the game they're playing this weekend. I could ask them about
Honestly.
how they think they'll do against Pride, and they're not going to give me an answer.
I know. So you got UWE, you got UEA this weekend. They can potentially they're coming to kind of, as giant killers. They're coming to kind of kill off the Giants. They're coming with the same hunger. What's your kind of your mindset going into that game?
Sorry, you go.
I was going to say just prepare like we would any other game, really. Game plan. Just find what it is we want to exploit and we want to take advantage of and use and prepare for it that way. Don't treat it any differently. That's all it is, really. Yeah.
Well, I'll just say for you.
I was about to say exactly as he said. Yeah.
Just kind of because if you start, it's one of those. If you start thinking down the line, like that's the thing. You can ask the UE question. Nothing. It's almost that's presuming that they would also be there, and presuming that we'd be there. Like there's nothing guaranteed. So again, just take every game as it comes. We've got a quarterfinal on Sunday and win that, and then from there.
I suppose that's the thing. Then is how do you block out the noise? How do your coaches, pay you guys to block out the noise? Because social media these days, I feel like every single team will look at what is said about their team on social media and they'll run with that. How do you find yourself blocking that out? Because let's be real. I think from the first game of the season, everyone's talking point has been, we're going to see a rematch in the final.
Yeah.
But just forget that. How do you guys block that out?
I think for me, there's two ways. The first one, in all honesty, if you have the right mentality towards football, you'll never think anything's given. But at the same time, you'll know that you deserve to be where you are, if that makes sense. So for me and a lot of the other receivers, because it's a mentality a lot of receivers in football share. And it's a case of you think you're the best, so you'll end up where you end up. And it doesn't matter what someone else says. You see them all the time talking to DBs on the field, and they're saying, you can stop me from catching this one ball, but I'm still going to have 100 yards, do this and do that. And it's the same. We're hearing all this noise, and it's good that people are talking about us and that we're being mentioned, and I respect that. But at the same time, we are us as a team, and we're doing what we need to do. And then the second thing is just, I think we learned the lesson last year of how to deal with noise, because that was the first time we'd got to the level that we got to. And there were a lot of people talking, and a lot. And it was a case of, it's all fun and games saying what you want to say, but then you need to back up on the field. And to our credit, we gave you a very good showing of football that they may not have expected us to give them, which was regardless of the noise. So, yeah.
I think that's the thing, is it's the first time the team's got that far. How much do you think having the university support and the AU has, and I guess also the coaches as well, but that's the second question. How much of that do you think has helped to get the team where it is, and how important do you think it is for teams to have an AU that supports them as well? I speak to Daniel all the time about this. Knots are they're in the finals for everything, man. It's annoying to me working at UCL, and I see them playing Knots, and I'm like, I know how this is going to go.
They're collecting all the BUCs points.
Yeah, man, all of them. Yeah. They take them all.
Yeah.
I think for me, as president, and I'm from this year working there, kind of part time as well, I've kind of had the privilege to see the behind the scenes.
Right.
And I think that the big thing in there is when you see the culture in the environment, you see how much everyone in there cares about sport at the university. And I think that shines through in the results. I think probably a lot of even our players don't necessarily realise how much is kind of done for us. Like my boss today was still in the office at 6:30, 7 o'clock, booking our coach up to Aberdeen. that we've got on for our green team game on the weekend.
Right.
So it's just, you see how much people care, and there's no way we'd be at the point that we are without them. And like I say, I think it's not necessarily something that most people realize and appreciate at the student level. I think obviously people like you who work in higher level sport can appreciate that more.
Bolaji, what's it like? Because obviously, where are you from originally, Bolaji?
Are you talking country or in the UK?
No, UK.
In the UK,
country,
Kent.
like I don't know your name. This guy.
Yeah. I'm Dartford, so Kent.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So you're coming from Dartford, and you're coming to an environment where, let's not kid ourselves. The Nottingham facility is probably one of the state of the art, right?
Yes, 100%.
You can't kid yourself. What for you coming? You as somebody that's coming into that type of environment. What was it like? What was that whole experience? What's that whole experience been like? How has it been for you? How was that experience? If you don't mind sharing that.
Yeah, that's fine. So I went to a very academically prestigious school. And so we played rugby, of course, as a lot of schools in the Southeast do. And we played it to a high level for our level of school. But we didn't have training facilities or excellent gym equipment, things like that. Because again, academics was the be all and end all of my school. And to their credit, academically, they are ranked higher. But for sport, it was more about individual talent, athletics. So doing competition by yourself, team sports wasn't the biggest emphasis. And so coming to university here and seeing the state-of-the-art facilities, it was a bit of a game changer because firstly, you need to have initiative. I think that's the one thing I had to learn. Like, you need to have initiative to go and be in the gym and be proactive. And then you also need to have initiative to make use of the staff that are here. And I think that was my biggest difference in first year. So coming from a school that I came from, where the coaches see you every day, they talk to you every day, they make sure you're eating right, you're doing this and that for rugby games. Whereas when you get to uni, you need to be the one questioning them because they have to see 1,000 people every day. They don't have enough time to allocate for just you. I think that was the biggest difficulty for me. But other than that, just being in the gym, being on the field, and taking all the hours available to make use of your time and just work at the craft. I think it's fun. Football is fun. So if you don't want to put in the effort, it just means you're denying yourself the enjoyment of playing football. So it became quite easy after first year.
Right. When you're in and around the Nottingham facility, do you feel like a student athlete? I don't know if you can replicate something similar to how you have in college in the States. Do you get that kind of student athlete vibe? How would you sell Nottingham to me? For somebody that's, an athlete like myself, a pristine athlete, that's ready to bang. How would you sell Nottingham to me? What sets you guys aside from any other, the likes of UW Bullets or Leeds Beckett? What's different about Nottingham?
I think it gets said a lot, but I think it is true. And you can look at examples of, for instance, so me and Danilo were the same cohort in the year. And you can go back to our first year and see the guys that left when we were in first year and then see the roles they have now in industry, in tech, in whatever area that they went into. We're student athletes, but they do emphasize the student part at Nottingham because it is a good high level university. It does give you options. And a lot of the time, so I'm trying to go into tech at some point, and I see a lot of the time they specify they're looking for red brick unis, they're looking for this section. And a lot of time, Nottingham is up there when it looks at recruiters because, again, it's an academically tough uni. And so, yes, we are benefiting from an amazing sports facility and sporting culture. And I think the culture is a bit that doesn't get talked about enough. The sporting culture is amazing, as Danilo alluded to. But then I think as well, the academics that they push you to achieve is what will actually get you where you want to go in life. Because God forbid I get an injury of some sort at some point in the near future. Based on the fact that I went to Nottingham, I can still end up getting a job in the industry I want to go into. I think that's the best sell.
Danilo, you?
I think I agree with everything is said from the kind of the playing and the American football side of it. I mean, you touched on the facilities and support from the SU or the sport department. But for us, for me, it's the coaching, like everywhere you look, it's kind of GB level coaching. Like for me at DB, our DB coach is Matt Gorn, who's GB women's flag DB coach. So you've got a GB coach. If he's not there, Ben Davies comes and coaches DBs, who's GB senior men's outside linebackers coach. So regardless of which ones whether Matt's available, I'm going to have the GB coach doing coaching at our position. And so the development, I think, is the big thing. Is you have guys come in from the States and they're able to still learn things and appreciate the coaching that we have here and the attention to detail that we have and stuff like that. And you see guys who come in at the start of university and are able to be at GB and European level. So I think like the development as a player, it's part of the reason I came back for a master's. I was interested in doing one anyway, but then as a football player, I know that I'm going to develop way better with the facilities and the coaching that we have to offer here as a result, rather than just being at home or playing club football or whatever, which is nothing against club football. Because I mean, I came through at Titans and they just won the national championship, so not remotely nothing against them. I was no part of that, but but no, like the development that I've had, I wouldn't have got anywhere else, I don't think.
Man, big things ahead for you guys. Like I said, we
hope so.
I feel like it's coming. I know people probably doubting me and think, I feel like it's coming. I feel like, the night is not too far away. And, I love nothing more. What's Jason Scott like? Because I've been trying to listen, I'll just put it out here. I was hoping he might make an appearance today. And I said, listen, I'm still putting it out there. Coach Scott, listen, if you put a message in the comments, I'll take this hat off and I'll put on a green hat, man. I'll do it, man. You're no longer with time with. That's what I'm wearing. I've been wearing this orange hat since the day I've been trying to get Coach Scott's attention, man. Hopefully. I
think from day one, I think this was the thing. He was like, let's get Nos on. It was like, let's get Coach Scott on. And I'm thinking, I mean, to be fair to him, like, he took time out of his day last year to help me with my dissertation, and that surprised me. But I think that kind of says the kind of person he is, in the sense that he will help anyone if you ask for it. That's really been my only running with him, but from that I took a lot away from that as well, not just course wise, got a master's, not to brag. But yeah, I think, hey man, all it did was teach me how to use a camera.
I would say
go on.
I would say I can text them anytime and they'll reply and make time to talk. I think, and there's quite a few coaches on the Nottingham staff that I can say I can do that with. And it's a case of, they're my coach, but having known them now for 4 years, they're actually friends as well. And we know each other on a quite close basis. So if I have an issue, so say I have something I can't go to my personal tutor about, and I did this a number of times last year, like an issue that's not actually academically related, but still university related, I can talk to Coach Scott or Coach Omazusi or anyone else. I can talk to them about a problem I have just at the start of training, just go to them and say, I'm dealing with this. Do you offer any advice? And then they can give me that advice there and then, because they know me and I know them. And also, Coach Scott, I think, so that speaks to him off the field. I think on the field, he's very good at not hiding his emotions in the game.
Yes.
And when he does that, we feel that, and then it helps us engage. So say we're not playing well, he's not going to sugarcoat it. He'll let us know that we deserve to play better because we work too hard to play badly. and then we'll respond.
Just on that note, Bolaji, and that's what I was going to talk about. Listen, let's listen. Yeah, one of you guys messaged me and asked what this clickbait or this title is about, because people don't know. Yeah. So that last game, let's just be real. Let's keep it real. This is bucking around. Anything goes.
Cool.
The onslaught that a man, in my opinion, that was showing passion for the colors he wears, the team shirt he wears, and the pride on his shirt. What impact did that have on you guys? Seeing your head coach, take all of that abuse. Not only that abuse, because he was in a way protecting the shirt you guys wear, right? The emblem on your chest. What impact did that have on you two as players, if I can ask?
I mean,
for those who don't know, the incident, was one of the UWE players went into after the game, after winning, allegedly put a spike or put their flag in the middle of the field. Correct me if I'm wrong, that's allegedly what happened, and as a result, X and X happened allegedly, resulting in the coach, saying, "Listen, you can't do that. It's disrespectful." What's you guys take on that whole situation?
For me personally, I didn't see any of it happen, so I can't comment on. I think afterwards, you saw people from our team rally around him. I think that was the big thing. Like it wasn't it was a lot of support from us. And I think that's the main thing. Like no one, I don't think anyone's on the team's opinion of him changed at all. Like we know who he is, kind of thing. It is what it is. Like I say, I can't comment on it. I didn't see it, so I'm not gonna.
No, I agree with that, Nolo. I feel like regardless of what did or didn't happen, because again, we were focused on us, so we didn't witness these events. Regardless of anything that happened, it was more about after seeing the way people reacted and got onto him, us being able to help him and support him through that. I think showed that we care about him as much as he cares about us, as not just players but as people. There's a healthy amount of respect between us and the coaches, and us to other players and the coaches to each other. And I think that was, I think that showcased it in a way.
100%.
I think what it did more than anything is actually showed the nasty side of Brickball.
Yes,
in
a way,
just a tiny, like I said, no one knows the truth or anything. Like you could start a tiny little rumor up very quickly, and people will jump on it and they'll hound it and they'll run away with it. And it's like, for what reason? You see people scream after go for the game. That's not helping anyone. That's not helping anything at all. So it sounds cliche, but if you haven't got anything nice to say, just don't say it.
Simple.
Yeah. I think a lot of people that were commenting, and it's not to say it doesn't happen, because you see it in the NFL all the time. If you go onto Twitter on an NFL Sunday, you'll see some of the worst tweets you've ever seen about if a player drops a football or misses a field goal, you'll see certain things be said that just shouldn't be said to anyone. And I feel it was a bit unfair only because maybe people forgot those guys are professionals being paid, and it shouldn't happen to anyone, but they're being paid millions of dollars to play that game and be in a public eye. We're just student athletes. We didn't ask to be put on social media and insulted or disrespected in any way. So I think that kind of showed that side of the game that is there, and a lot of people choose to ignore it, but it does exist. I think it elucidated that.
People need to have more face-to-face conversations, man. You'll feel better after it, man. Come talk to me to my face, and then we can get clear there and then. Isn't it, SJ? That's how we do it in East London.
Erica's going to sell some kind of like Dr. Phil kind of Uniballer show next season.
Listen, I'm a lover, not a fighter, man. I'm a lover, not a fighter. But I'm still born and raised in East London. But we won't digress. So big Wednesdays, but big Wednesday. Can we expect to see another spectacle this year, Danilo? Obviously, you as the president, you got some pressure on your hands. Explosions always always popping off. Are we going to see something similar or maybe better than explosion, or kind of promote that? What's the plan this year for big Wednesday?
I mean, that is entirely a question for the BUCs events team.
Okay.
We have
Okay.
I won't say we have nothing to do with it.
Okay.
I've spoken to Tanya and might have some stuff around like capacity and basically anything we can do to increase that, because it was kind of sold out comfortably last year. Like we fill that balcony for regular season games. So for big Wednesday it was never going to be enough. But for the wider spectacle and what you can expect, it's entirely BUCs kind of organized by BUCs within the realms of what Nottingham and UN Sport can do. It's nothing that I really have any control over, unfortunately.
Just speaking optimistically, I do think they will put effort in, because from last year they saw the game is growing in the UK.
100%.
And there's a lot more people that would never consider watching American football in their life, and all of a sudden they get to uni and their friend plays, and now they're the biggest fans. And I think that people slowly, very slowly but surely, are recognizing that American football it does hold some bearing in this country. So yeah,
I think.
Go on.
God, no, I'm probably going to.
I was going to say. I mean, I think like you look at. I think on some level it'd almost be stupid not to, because you look at the YouTube channel and you look at kind of their most viewed stuff, and it's literally our final is like 6th most viewed, behind like a few Super Rugby games and some other national kind of competition. And even if you look at like the semi-final between Pride and Newcastle, that was like 13,000 views as well. I think it was the second most, like in terms of big Wednesday viewership, it was our final and then the Div 1 final. Like it wasn't, it was, and then it was a bit of a gulf to other ones. I might be wrong on that. I know ours was comfortably the most, but I think the second most viewed big Wednesday event was the the Div 1 final, which I think speaks to the level of play in the country, and then also the kind of the Britball community and people getting behind it. So yeah, I think if someone doesn't look at that and go, okay, well, we want to make this special and even better than last year, from a business side, it makes sense to put on a show. So I'd expect it to be at least as good as last year, if not better.
I think that leads on to my next thing with that. Then is let's talk big picture. Where do you see the game going in BUCs in the next 3-4 years? After you guys have graduated, where do you see it being? Not Knots in general, but the wider sport as a whole in BUCs. Do you see it going anywhere else? Like, would you think this is as far as it can go right now?
I think it's a really exciting time. Like you look at obviously the investment at Pride in like a specific pitch and investment at Loughborough, because the movement of the academy in Loughborough, doing as well as they are in Division 1 may well be in the Premiership next year. It seems like there is a hunger from teams to kind of level up and move that stretch further, become more professional, become kind of elevate it into the level of other sports in terms of consideration. Personally, from me, I think right now, kind of the next step that would take it a level higher would be some kind of national league like you have in a lot of other sports, because there does feel like there's a bit of a gulf at the moment between the top teams in the Premiership and the bottom teams in the Premiership, just because of where the level's at. So kind of taking some of the top teams from each division and creating that kind of smoother leveling up process, because like it's hard for a team to come up and in the first year even stay up, unless you're in a situation like we were, where we had heavy investment, or UE did, or Pride did this year, and they've kind of kicked out some of the previously more established teams, like obviously you see Sterling going down. So I think some kind of national league, generally growing the game and getting flag into BUCs just for kind of getting more people involved. Like kind of it's something, again, I've spoken to Tonya about is, and we've discussed, is like, I can't see why for a 5-on-5, a lot of, not everyone obviously, but for teams that have got like 40-50 players, can you find 13 people who, like, one thing that we found this year is a lot of people came to Tasters, looked around, sees the size of the people there and the level of athlete that is getting into American football now, and think, okay, maybe this isn't for me because of you know, my athletic ability or physical makeup, but they love the sport and would love to play flag. And I think you could find 10, 13 people like that at a lot of universities and create a league and grow that from there as well.
You've done a lot of work with just kind of building the, I think, the BUCs flag buzz. You know, what? Just tell us about, you know, some of the work you've done in terms of building, you know, kind of BUCs flag. I know you've kind of looked at maybe developing a female only team as well as a mixed flag team as well. Is that something that you're still working on, or is already in motion? You know, what's the plan around that?
Yeah, so the women's flag team's been in place for a number of years, like well predated me coming to university, and they've kind of participated in the national women's flag league. I think kind of going in like this year, one of the things that opened up was the BUCs development grant specifically for American football. So we applied for funding to help kind of expand that team, because this year we've got over 50 members for women's flag on its own. So we've got plenty for two teams, and what we're looking at is, you know, finding other university teams that might have the capacity to implement a flag team, and then for us in the meantime be able to support that better and develop it a bit more than we maybe have in previous years, in terms of like equipment and running extra sessions for an open flag, which probably would be easier to implement than women's flag straight away, in terms of the level of numbers you could get. And technically, kind of at the moment, we don't have an offering for male flag, so by having open flag, it opens that up as well as an inclusivity piece. On the opposite of the way it usually is, obviously.
Listen, I'm just saying this now. You're not kings of the flag game until you beat the Big Kids Foundation flag team. Listen, them guys in South London, those Big Kids, shout out Big Kids Foundation flag team, because them guys are on a different level. Like I said, if you ever get the chance, you know, to go down there, you know, try and pop down to Big Kids flag. I think they run on a Tuesday night, and it's a different level, man. Those guys take it seriously. You know, they have fun, but they're on a different level, man. You know, so it's always good to see, man. So I just want to ask you, Danilo, obviously you're a DB, Bolaji is a wide receiver. You know,
he knows what's coming.
I can see where this is going.
I played with Bolaji for a year, and I ain't never heard Bolaji speak, never. So to hear him stringing these couple of sentences together, this is, I'm talking about trash talk. You know, what's it like, Danilo, playing against someone like Bolaji? You know, what's the kind of impact, you know, he's had on the team, you know, thus far?
I mean, I think, to be honest, in many ways we are similar kind of players. Both a lot of the we are let our play do the talking. I'm not a big talker on the field either. Like, to be honest, we probably speak the most in some ways to each other because of that. I think, like, for me, he's a worker, and I don't like none. You can't say that any other receiver on our team has worked harder in the time that they've been here, kind of doing extra stuff and that kind of thing. And I think for the younger receivers, he demands that kind of like excellence, but for them, they can't argue with it because they see him putting in that work, putting in that effort, so they can't kind of argue with that message. And like it's a lot, like you can have people that fall into the trap of like they demand this and this, but you don't see them putting that work in themselves, and that's something that I really respect is that part of it.
No, thank you, man.
Yeah.
Speaking on Danilo, before we move on, speaking on Danilo, I do think he's right. We are very similar in our style. So again, we're the same cohort. We did the same course. We spent 3 years seeing each other effectively every day. Right. So it's a case of he's almost my opposite on the field. He works just as hard. He just will never admit it. And he knows how excellent he is, but he also will never tell you. So you will never get out of Danilo, I'm the best this on the field. Yeah. But if you watch the tapes, he makes plays. And that's all that matters. Yeah. It's who makes plays and who can, in a healthy way, hold other people accountable for their mistakes, which as president he has to do, and he's learned how to do very well. And it's a case of, if I need advice about something to do with the defense, I can ask him because I know he understands it to a high level. Yeah, an even higher level. He understands it on a level that a lot of people just don't. And so if I need someone to break something down, so say I want to run a route against certain coverage, I can go to him or a handful of other guys and ask them, explain this to me so that I can know how to attack it, or vice versa.
Who wins one-on-one?
Jeez.
It depends. It depends on the situation. I'll be honest. I'll be so honest.
I will say he's answered that question very differently in the past.
No.
Yeah.
I've said,
you know
my personal belief is that like on certain routes he'll win. Like it's one of those where we're very well matched. Like he'll win some, I'll win some. Like it is one of those. It's very healthy, good and healthy competition. In the past,
I think. Yeah,
he said me easily.
I was gonna say me, of course. I think anything short is I have, and anything deep down the field probably Danilo, just because he has the range, whereas I'm more of a quick slot guy, so that suits my game better. And then long field throws suit him better because he can just read on the QB and just go get the ball. Yeah,
I'd say he's quicker and faster.
Yeah.
So kind of.
I have to admit it now. Yeah. 3 years later, I'll admit it now. Yeah.
Trust me.
He's faster than me in a straight line currently. Currently. But we'll see. Give it another 2 months and we'll see.
Yeah. Oh man, that's crazy.
What you mean when I've been off for like 3 months with injury? Yeah.
It doesn't matter. So, when you're healthy, we'll race.
Yeah. Trust me. So we know you guys work hard. You know, evidence is clear. You're winning games. You know, you're probably in the best shape of your lives. What's it like? Because there's rumors going around that you guys, have, falafel burger parties with protein shakes. Like, what do you guys do?
Protein shake.
No beer, just protein.
Nah, do you know what it is? You guys saw faith. I know you guys saw faith in the final, and you saw his physique, and then straight away. That's where people have said this because I remember the commentator said he was an Adonis or something, or Hercules or something like that, and I was like, okay, nah. I think again because of how long we spend in the gym and doing S&C and being on the field, everyone's just in shape. Football shape is football shape. It's different to anything else, and we spend a lot of time on the field, especially when we try to focus on special teams a lot to get it down to an art form. Special teams is just inherently a lot of running. And so it just puts you in shape. I think that's the best way to put it.
What's a standard week for you guys? From Monday to Sunday for generally
from a team demands perspective or like a personal?
Team. Let's say team, yeah. Personal, I don't want to get into nobody's personal business.
No,
you want to?
So is it
but
like
you're live TV, bro. Yeah.
if
As
we're
in like
talking
team
about,
versus
like,
student athlete.
Yeah,
like
it's
it's like
student
talking
athlete,
about like if I was saying just like team gym or like individual gym. So like team, it's like Tuesday night. We have classroom from 7 till 8, and then head to the field 8:30 till 10:30.
Right.
Wednesday S&C for an hour with like a strength and conditioning coach as a team. Thursday same as Tuesday, 7 till 8, 8 till 8:30 till 10:30, and then we have the field for a couple of hours on a Sunday, 3 till 5, which is kind of like free use, anything that you want to work on individually, so like receivers and quarterbacks or kicking or anything like that. If there's specific stuff you want to prepare for a game, and then Sundays when we don't have a game, 10 till 1. So that's the week. Occasionally, depending on the game, we'll have walkthroughs the night before or the evening before for specific stuff, and then kind of beyond that, our classroom usually kind of spills over into pre-classroom. Like it's something that, especially last year, really started becoming like a culture thing of like classrooms at 7, and people will be there from 6:30.
From 6, yeah.
So like people will be there realistically 6 till 10:30 on a Tuesday and a Thursday night. So I think that's one of the kind of the small things that it's when we do that kind of 6-month review for the sport department, and talks about performance analysis, and it's one of those that I think will consistently be the best team across the whole university every single time you ask us, because of the nature of American football in this sport, but also just kind of the culture that was set last year. Provided that stays in place, I think that will be the same.
Yeah. You think that the fact that GB tend to train there has had a massive impact on your recruitment? Has that helped to push your recruitment? You know,
I'm not sure if we can. I don't know if we can say yet.
Yeah.
I think it's going to take a little bit of time. I feel like it's encouraged people on the team to get to that level to say, if GB's so close to me, I can get there. And then it means everyone that lives near this area then works harder, because they realize, it's kind of a privilege to say, I don't really need to go that far to go to training, so I might as well get into the best shape of my life to make that team, because then I don't need to travel 6 hours somewhere else to go train. I can just go to my field. I think that's had an impact, but I think time will tell when new cohorts of people join the uni, whether they're coming with that goal in mind to go and apply for GB.
I mean, I think it does have an effect, and there are individuals where that is the case already. And I think I'd say it with like being careful not to do a disservice. The kind of like you could look at it now and go, oh, people just go there because of the GB. For me, it's kind of completely the opposite. We were playing a GB game. I wasn't considering Nottingham. We were playing a GB game in Leeds. And
very true.
Coach Omazuzi and Coach Scott came to that game, spoke to me after the game, said, come to the prospect day. I was at the prospect day. There was only 10 of us there that year, but then we've, except for obviously missing a year because of COVID, but we've run our third prospect day last April, and we've got another one planned for that kind of thing. And obviously, I don't think it does anything for Freshers Fair because no one there has any idea about it. So I think it would be right to say that it does have an effect, and there are specific players where it matters because people see the facilities and it's good from that standpoint. But I think it would undersell the amount of work that's gone in over the last kind of 4 years, especially to attracting and recruiting or like players that already have experience, but then also the kind of the work at Freshers Fair each year.
I'm a guy coming from an area where I got my mom, maybe single mom. Money's not the we're not in the best shape in terms financially, right? Is there opportunities for people to get scholarships? Is it something that you guys still kind of are kind of pioneering? Is scholarships potentially something for an athlete that shows the tenacity to perform, doing good in school, or just doesn't have the money to kind of get through to yourselves? Is scholarship something That's a potential.
Speaking solely from the perspective of someone that's been doing sport my whole life, yes, I do believe that there are ways that you can get into Nottingham based on sporting achievement, but you do need to have, don't get it twisted, you do need to make sure your academics are in line.
Yeah.
But if you're consistently showing that you can perform sport at a high level, then I have a few friends that are not Olympic, but they are national level athletes.
Wow.
And because of that, they're able to find their ways to universities and to get a good education and to get scholarships offered to them because they've dedicated themselves to a craft and they've excelled at that craft. So I think opportunities are there. Yeah, as long as you work hard and as long as you have the right mindset towards it, as in you will sustain it once they give you that opportunity. You have to sustain it and then keep making sure that you stay working hard. Once you're given the opportunity, then I would say that they're there.
Yeah, most definitely. Wow, this is we could probably be here forever, man. This has been nuggets. You know, it's been a vibe with you two. That's been too dope. But as is customary, we always have our 2-minute drill. You know, I know you both are media trained, and I know Coach Scott's probably giving you the little reminder. But I feel you. But 2-minute drill. This is the point where I ask you a question, and you can't fumble the ball. You got no timeouts. You have to answer the question. If you don't, punks. But that's like, you're not really punks. But you have no choice. But you have to answer the question. If you could write an email to the late great coach Stefan Beef Brittle, what would you what if the players could write an email to the late great coach Stephen Beef Brittle, what do you think they'll put in it?
Just knowing a lot of, again, offensive minded people, I think the O lineman would be at the helm of that. And the number one thing that they would say is they appreciate the amount of time he took and spent on them, because I noticed it in first year, but then I noticed it more after. He spent a lot of his own time with the O-line, a lot, almost as if they were his family. I think if they could write anything to him, they'll just say, you embrace us like family, and we want to show that we're doing the same, and we're continuing to honor your legacy as we play football, with naming a day to play a game after him, turning that into a big event just so we could honor the man that he was, and make sure that, again, it's known, and I'll throw this word again, he treated me, a guy that he does not know, doesn't even play his position. He treated me like I was family, every conversation we had. So I would say I appreciate you for doing that, because not a lot of people in this world will do that for just a random person that they see in any given situation. I appreciate you for that. Yeah.
Deep, man. I always say football, man, this game is high impact, low maintenance, man. High impact, low maintenance. May his soul rest in peace, man. May his soul rest in peace. Well, guys, man, it's been a pleasure, man. It's been a pleasure to have you guys on the show. Thank you for taking the time out as usual. SJ, it's always a pleasure to see you, my bro. Mikey, it's always a pleasure, man. Wish you all the best for the rest of the season. Like I said, don't be strangers. Me and SJ, we're trying to come down to Nottingham. Listen, we might be at the final. We don't know yet. We're trying to line something up with Tony. But Tony, if you're on here, listen, man, make it happen. We're trying to get down there. SJ, what are you saying?
Free tickets and we'll be there, man. I know the tickets are going to come out very quickly.
Cost of living is hard out here.
Cost of living's tough. It's hard out here, man.
Trust me, I do, man. Like I said, thank you. How can people kind of follow you on Insta? What's your Insta? You have an Insta page, dedicated Insta page that people can kind of follow you. For those who don't already. Yeah,
UONAF, like University of Nottingham American Football.
Right. Dope, man. All the best for the next game. Like I said, we're hoping you keep on progressing to the final and save us from this monster, the UWE Bullet. Save us from that. Shout out to UWE Bullets, man. We're looking for another exciting final, whoever it is and whoever it may be.
100%.
This has been bucking around. It's been myself, Mecca, aka the Bronze Bomber, SJ, aka the Anis. Peace.
Thank you guys for having us. We really